Hello there. Welcome to our channel, Late Night Historian. You are drowning in darkness. Water is pouring through the gun port above your head. The port you were supposed to close. The port you didn't have time to close because the ship tilted so suddenly, so impossibly, that you lost your footing. And now the sea is coming in, and you cannot stop it. You are below decks on the Mary Rose. You are 23 years old. Your name is William Fletcher. You are from Portsmouth. You have perhaps 30 seconds to live. The water is shockingly cold, black and churning. It rises past your knees, your waist, your chest. The gun deck is tilting at an angle that makes movement nearly impossible. You can hear screaming, men trapped in the spaces below you, men trying to reach the ladders, men who will not make it. You think about Thomas, your friend from home. You promised his mother you would watch out for him. You cannot see him in this darkness. You cannot help him now. The water reaches your chin, your neck. You take a final breath. But you do not drown. Not completely. Not yet. You do not remember how you survived. The memory is fragments. Darkness. Pressure in your lungs like your chest will collapse. The terrible burning need for air. Then somehow, impossibly, surface. Light. Gasping. Choking. Vomiting seawater. Living. Hands grabbed your arms. Men in a rescue boat. You do not remember their faces, do not remember their names, just hands hauling you from the water. Rough wood against your back. Sky above. Breathing. Still breathing. Alive when you should be dead. Thomas did not make it out. Neither did Peter, who taught you to tie knots. Neither did John, your gun captain, who said you were becoming a proper gunner. Neither did 397 others. The Mary Rose took them all. Kept them in the darkness beneath the waves. But she let you go? You, William Fletcher from Portsmouth, 23 years old. You lived. You do not know why. You will spend the next 30 years asking why. The question will follow you. Will wake you at night. Will sit in your chest like a stone. Why you? Why not Thomas? Why not the good men? The skilled men? The men with families who needed them? You have no answer. There is no answer. There is only the fact that you are here, breathing, living, carrying the weight of those who are not, but to understand how you got there, how you ended up in that water, how the Mary Rose came to sink within sight of shore while the king watched, how 400 men came to drown on a calm summer afternoon. We must go back to the morning 6 months ago when you first heard about the Mary Rose, when you decided to join her crew, when you thought this would be your path to something better. Before we begin that journey, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps this work reach more people, and it means a great deal to me. I'm also always curious where in the world you're listening from tonight, so please leave a comment below. Now settle in. Let the modern world fade away. We are going back to Tudor England, to the spring of 1545, to the moment when you first saw the ship that would kill so many. That would spare you. That would haunt you for the rest of your life. You are standing on Portsmouth dock in the early morning of January 1545. The air is cold. The harbour smells of salt and tar and fish. Before you lies a forest of masts. The King's fleet. Dozens of warships preparing for the war everyone knows is coming. You are here because your father died last autumn. He was a sailmaker. He fell from scaffolding in the dockyard. The injury didn't kill him immediately, but infection set in, and 3 weeks later he was gone. Your mother has 2 younger children to feed. A washerwoman's wages barely covered food even when your father was alive. Now she cannot manage. You are the eldest, 23 years old, able-bodied. You have a choice. Find work or watch your family starve. The Navy pays regularly. 4 pence a day for able seamen. More if you become skilled at gunnery or navigation. It is dangerous work, but all work is dangerous. At least this pays. You asked around the dockside taverns, learned that the Mary Rose was taking on crew. She is famous, even here in Portsmouth, where famous ships are common. She is the King's favourite. Been in service for more than 30 years. Fought the French, fought the Scots, sailed to distant waters. Always returned. If you must go to sea, better to serve on a ship with that kind of luck. Thomas came with you. Thomas Cooper. You have known him since childhood. His family's cottage is 3 doors down from yours. He is 2 years younger than you, smaller, quick to laugh, quick to panic. His father is a baker, can afford to keep Thomas home. But Thomas insisted on coming, said he wouldn't let you go alone, said it would be an adventure. You tried to talk him out of it, told him he didn't need the money. He just smiled that easy smile of his and said that was exactly why he could afford to go. Besides, he said, someone needs to keep you from doing something stupid. So here you both stand on the dock, waiting for the recruiting officer. Around you are dozens of other men. Some look like experienced sailors, weathered faces, hands scarred from rope work. Others look like you, young men who need money. Men running from debt or scandal or simply bad luck. The Navy takes anyone willing to serve. The recruiting officer is a hard man with a voice like gravel. He looks you over with an expression that suggests he has seen 1,000 men like you, most of them now dead. He asks if you can swim. You say yes, though you are not a strong swimmer. He asks if you have sailed before. You say no, but your father worked the dockyards. You know ships. You know how they are built. He nods, says that will do, signs your name in his ledger. 4 pence a day, standard enlistment. You belong to the king now. Thomas signs next. His hand shakes slightly as he makes his mark. He cannot write his name properly, so he just makes an X. The officer doesn't care. He has his 2 recruits. He tells you to report to the Mary Rose at first light tomorrow. Bring nothing except the clothes on your back. Everything else will be provided. That evening you go home. Tell your mother you have joined the Navy. She does not cry. She knows this was inevitable. She gives you a small wooden cross that belonged to your father, tells you to keep it close, tells you to come home safe. You promise you will. You mean it when you say it. Thomas's mother cries. She begs him not to go. He hugs her, promises he will look after himself, promises that William will look after him. She looks at you with eyes that are pleading and hopeless at the same time. You nod, tell her you will watch out for Thomas. The promise feels heavy. You do not yet understand how heavy. That night you barely sleep. You lie awake thinking about your father, about whether he was afraid when he fell, about whether he knew he was dying, about whether you will die at sea, about whether it will hurt. You push these thoughts away. Tomorrow you join the Mary Rose. Tomorrow your new life begins. You see her at first light. The Mary Rose is anchored in the harbour. From shore she looks enormous. A floating castle, 4 masts rising like trees, high wooden structures at bow and stern, gun ports lining her sides. The painted Tudor rose on her bow catches the morning sun. She is beautiful in the way dangerous things are beautiful. Massive, powerful, built for war. You and Thomas row out in a small boat with a dozen other new recruits. As you get closer, the ship becomes even more imposing. Her hull rises above you, dark oak planking, the waterline marked with weed and barnacles. You can see where she's been repaired over the years, patches of newer wood, different colours. She is old but well maintained. A rope ladder hangs down the side. You climb. Your hands find the rungs, rough hemp that digs into your palms. You focus on not falling, on reaching the deck. Thomas climbs behind you. You can hear his breathing. Quick and nervous. You pull yourself over the rail onto the main deck. And you are aboard. The deck is organised chaos, men everywhere, moving with purpose, carrying supplies, coiling ropes, checking rigging. No one pays attention to the new recruits. You are just more bodies, more hands for the work that never ends aboard a ship. A ship's officer appears. He is perhaps 35, sun-weathered face, voice that cuts through the noise. He tells you his name, but you forget it immediately, because he is already moving on to practical matters. He assigns you to a gun crew, the main deck, port side, 4th gun from the bow. Your station, your responsibility. You will live near this gun, work near this gun. If battle comes, you will fight here. He shows you below decks, the gun deck, where you will sleep. It is low-ceilinged, you cannot stand fully upright. The smell hits you immediately, tar and damp wood and bilge water, and the accumulated stench of men living in confined spaces. It is dark except for the light coming through the gun ports. The air feels thick, used. Your sleeping space is a narrow strip of deck near your gun. No hammock yet. Those are for experienced crew. You will sleep on planking with a thin blanket. 40 men sleep in this section, their belongings stowed in small sea chests. Everything smells of mildew and salt. Thomas looks pale. You can see him realising what he has gotten himself into. You feel the same realisation. This is not an adventure. This is hard, uncomfortable, dangerous work in conditions worse than anything you experienced on shore. But you are here now. The Navy owns you. There is no going back. The officer continues the tour, shows you the ship's well, where you will draw drinking water, shows you the heads, the toilet, a small platform at the bow of the ship, with holes opening directly to the sea below. You will relieve yourself there, exposed to wind and spray and the eyes of other crew members. Privacy is not a concept that exists aboard the Mary Rose. He shows you the hold, where supplies are stored, barrels of salt beef and pork, sacks of ship's biscuit, casks of beer. Enough food to keep 400 men alive for months at sea. The hold is darker than the gun deck. Rats scurry in the corners. You will become very familiar with rats. They are part of life aboard ship. You cannot kill them all. You learn to ignore them. By midday you are exhausted, and you have not yet done any real work. Just walking the ship, learning its layout, understanding the hierarchy of spaces, the upper decks where officers live, the gun decks where common sailors work and sleep, the hold where supplies and ballast keep the ship stable, and below everything, the bilges, where seawater collects, where the ship's pumps constantly work to keep the Mary Rose from slowly filling with the sea. You report to your gun captain. His name is John. He is 40 years old, has been aboard the Mary Rose for 15 years. He looks at you and Thomas with the same expression the recruiting officer had. He has seen your type before. Green, soft, unlikely to last. He does not waste time with pleasantries. He shows you the gun. A culverin, 9 feet long, cast bronze, weighs over a ton. It sits on a wooden carriage with wheels. When you fire it, the recoil will roll it backward. Your job is to help control that recoil, to swab out the barrel after firing, to load the next shot, to run the gun back into position, to do this as quickly as possible, over and over, in the heat of battle with enemy shot flying and men dying around you. John makes you practice. Again and again, dry run, no powder, no shot, just the motions. Swab, load, run out, secure, repeat. Your hands are not yet calloused. The ropes burn your palms. The work is harder than you expected. The gun is heavier than it looks. After 2 hours, your shoulders ache. Your hands are raw. Thomas is struggling. He is smaller than you. The work is breaking him. John does not care. He makes you continue until you can do it properly, until the motions become automatic. Only then does he let you rest. You collapse near your gun. Thomas sits beside you. He does not speak, just stares at his hands, at the blisters forming. You want to tell him it will get easier. You want to say something encouraging, but you are too tired, and you are not sure it will get easier. You think it might just keep being this hard forever. That first night, you lie on the hard planking. Your body aches in ways you have never experienced. You can hear the ship. She creaks constantly, the sound of wood flexing, ropes under tension, water moving against the hull. It is not quiet. It is never quiet. Men snore. Someone coughs endlessly. Someone else prays in whispered Latin. You close your eyes, but sleep does not come easily. You think about your promise to Thomas's mother, about watching out for him. Already you can see he is not suited for this life. He is too small, too gentle. This work will destroy him, but there is nothing you can do. You are both here. You will both have to survive it somehow. You wake to the sound of a whistle. 4 bells. Dawn. You have been asleep for perhaps 3 hours. Your body feels worse than yesterday. Every muscle protests as you stand. Around you, men are moving. The morning routine has begun. You go up on deck. The air is cold and clean after the staleness below. The sun is just rising. The harbour is coming alive. Other ships stirring. Portsmouth waking. You stand at the rail for a moment, breathing, trying to gather yourself for the day ahead. Thomas appears beside you. His face is grey with exhaustion. His hands are wrapped in strips of cloth. The blisters from yesterday have burst. You show him your own hands, also wrapped. also bleeding beneath the cloth. He tries to smile. Fails. "This was a mistake," he says quietly. You want to disagree, want to tell him it will be fine, but you cannot lie to him. So you just nod, say nothing, stand together watching the sunrise. Two boys from Portsmouth who thought they could be sailors, who are learning they were wrong, but who are here now, who have no choice but to continue. The days begin to blur together, each one the same. Wake before dawn, gun drill, maintenance work, cleaning, repairing, loading supplies, learning knots, learning the ship, learning your place in the hierarchy of 400 men living in a wooden world that never stops moving. Your hands callous, your body adjusts. You learn to sleep through noise, to ignore the rats, to eat ship's biscuit even when weevils fall out, to function on 4 hours of sleep, to work through exhaustion. This is what being a sailor means. Not adventure, not glory, just endless work, just surviving, day after day, in conditions that would break softer men. Thomas struggles more than you. He is assigned to lighter duties after the first week, helping the purser with inventory, tracking supplies. His small size and quick mind make him useful for this work. It is easier than gunnery. He recovers somewhat, gains back weight, sleeps better. You are relieved. You thought you might lose him to exhaustion or illness. But he is adapting, finding his place. You both are. The Mary Rose becomes familiar. You learn her rhythms, the way she moves in different seas, the sounds she makes, the way she lists slightly to port when fully loaded, the worn paths on the deck where thousands of feet have walked the same routes over 30 years. You find graffiti carved into beams below decks, names and dates, men marking their presence, saying, "I was here." You find a carved date from 1520. 25 years ago. The man who carved it is probably dead now. But his mark remains. You wonder if you should carve your own name, mark your presence, prove you existed. But you do not. Some superstition stops you, as if marking yourself makes death more likely. As if anonymity is protection. You realise the Mary Rose is a small floating world, 400 men living in close quarters, working together, depending on each other. It creates bonds, not friendship exactly, something different. The connection of people who share hardship, who trust each other with their lives because they must. You learn the crew. Peter, who is always cheerful despite having sailed for 20 years. Robert, who never speaks but works harder than anyone. Edmund, who tells stories at night, dirty stories that make men laugh, that make the gun deck feel less like a prison. These men become familiar, become constants in your life, become the closest thing to family you have aboard this ship. Thomas finds friends among the other young recruits, boys his age. They play dice at night when work is done, gamble for pennies. You watch them sometimes, watch Thomas laugh, watch him be young. You are glad he has this, glad he found something aboard the Mary Rose besides work and exhaustion. The weeks become months, winter turns to spring. The fleet prepares for campaign season. Everyone knows the French are coming. Invasion has been expected for years. Now it is imminent. The mood aboard the Mary Rose changes. Training becomes more intense, more serious. Gunnery practice happens with live shot now. The noise is incredible. Each gun firing creates a thunderous boom that echoes across the water. The smoke is choking. Your ears ring for hours afterward. The deck shakes. The gun lurches backward against its restraints. You learn to work through the chaos. Learn to function despite the noise and smoke and confusion. Your gun crew becomes efficient. You know your role. You move in coordination with the others. Swab, load, run out, fire. You can do it in under 90 seconds now. John, your gun captain, actually praises you, says you are becoming a proper gunner. Coming from him, this is high praise. But you notice something that makes your stomach tight. The gun ports are very low to the waterline. When the ship heels during manoeuvres, water sometimes sloshes against the lower ports. You mention this to Peter one evening. He laughs, says the Mary Rose has sailed for 30 years. She knows what she's doing. She has survived storms, battles, worse conditions than this. You want to believe him. The ship has survived this long. She is the king's favourite. She would not still be in service if she were unsafe. The veterans do not seem worried. They trust the ship. So you trust the ship too. You have to. Your life depends on her. It is summer now. July, the weather has been beautiful. Clear skies. Good winds. The fleet has been exercising constantly. Everyone knows why. The French fleet has been sighted. Massive. Over 200 ships. They are crossing the Channel, coming to attack England. The king himself is coming to Portsmouth to witness the defence. Word spreads through the ship. The king will be here. Henry VIII. He will watch the battle. Watch the Mary Rose fight. This is an honour. A privilege. The crew feels it. There is pride aboard the ship. Pride in being chosen. In being the ship the king will watch. On July 18th, the day before the battle, you write a letter home. You cannot write well. The words come slowly. Your hand is clumsy with the quill. But you want your mother to know you are thinking of her. That you are well. That you hope to see her soon. You give the letter to Thomas. Ask him to make sure it reaches Portsmouth. If anything happens to you, he takes it seriously. Promises he will. Then he laughs. Says nothing will happen. Says the French will see the Mary Rose and turn back in fear. Says you will be home in a week, drinking in the tavern, telling stories about the great battle. You hope he is right. That night you lie in your sleeping space. The gun deck is quiet. Most men are asleep. You can hear the ship, the creaking that has become so familiar, the sound of water against the hull, the wind in the rigging. These sounds are comforting now. They mean the ship is alive, functioning, protecting you. You think about the battle tomorrow, about what it will be like. Peter says the first battle is always the worst, says you do not know how you will react until it happens, says some men freeze, some men run, some men discover they are braver than they thought. You wonder which type you will be. You think about Thomas, about your promise to his mother. You will watch out for him tomorrow, will make sure he stays safe, will get him through this. You touch the wooden cross your mother gave you, the one your father wore. It is worn smooth from your constant handling. You do not pray, you do not have the words, but you hold the cross and think about home, about your mother and your siblings, about the life you left behind, about whether you will see them again. You do not sleep well that night. Few men do. Tomorrow the French come. Tomorrow the Mary Rose will fight. Tomorrow you will discover whether you are brave or whether you are a coward. Tomorrow everything changes. But tonight in the darkness you are just William Fletcher from Portsmouth, 23 years old, lying on a hard deck, listening to the ship creak, holding your father's cross, hoping you will survive, hoping you will not fail Thomas, hoping that when the battle comes, you will do your duty, that you will be the man your father would be proud of. The morning of July 19th, 1545, dawns clear and calm. Too calm. The wind is light, almost non-existent. The fleet cannot sail in this. You are rowed into position by boats, men in longboats, pulling the Mary Rose with ropes, moving her slowly into the channel, into position to meet the French. The king is on shore. You can see the royal pavilion, the flags, the crowds. Thousands of people have gathered to watch, to witness the battle, to see the French defeated. The pressure is enormous. You must perform, must fight well, must win. With the king watching, the French fleet appears. You see their sails first, then the hulls, ship after ship, more than you can count. They fill the horizon. Your stomach tightens. There are so many of them, so many ships, so many guns. How can the English fleet stop this? But you are aboard the Mary Rose, the king's favourite. You trust the ship, trust the veterans. Trust that 30 years of service mean something. That experience and skill will overcome numbers. The order comes. Prepare for action. You move to your station. The gun port is already open. The gun is loaded. You stand with the crew, ready, waiting. Your heart is pounding. Your hands are shaking. You grip the rope harder. Force yourself to breathe, to focus, to be ready. John, your gun captain, is calm. He has done this before, many times. He checks the gun, checks the crew, nods, says you are ready, says to trust the drill, trust your training. Do what you have practiced. That is all you need to do. The first shot comes from a French ship. You hear the boom, see the smoke. Then the splash as the ball hits water short of the fleet. They are ranging, finding distance, more shots. The water around the Mary Rose erupts, fountains of spray, thunder echoing across the channel. The order comes, fire! Your gun fires. The noise is incredible, worse than practice. The deck shakes, the gun leaps backward, smoke fills your lungs. You cannot see, cannot hear. Just follow the drill. Swab. Load, run out. The motions are automatic now. Your body knows what to do even when your mind is frozen. Fire again and again. The battle becomes a blur, loading, firing, the noise, the smoke, the heat from the gun barrel, the smell of powder, of burning, of sweat and fear. Time stops meaning anything. There is only the next shot, the next load, the next firing. Someone screams that the French are closing, that they are coming alongside. You cannot see through the smoke, cannot see anything except your gun, your crew, the small space where you work. The rest of the battle is sounds, distant, abstract, not real. Then the ship moves not in the normal way. Something is wrong. The Mary Rose is turning, heeling over, more than she should. You feel it. Everyone feels it. The angle is too steep, too sharp. Water comes through the gun port. Not spray, not a splash. A wave, a flood. The sea pouring in through the open port that is now below the waterline. That should never be below the waterline. That is too low. That you knew was too low. That everyone said was fine. That everyone said the Mary Rose could handle. Men scream. Orders are shouted. Close the ports. Close the ports. But you are tilting more. The water is coming faster. The ship is going over. The Mary Rose is sinking. You try to close the port, reach for the cover. But the angle is wrong. Everything is sliding. The gun breaks free, rolls, crushes someone. You hear the scream, cannot see who, cannot help. The water is at your waist now, rising impossibly fast. Thomas, you need to find Thomas. You need to get him out. You need to keep your promise. You push toward the ladder, toward the deck above, where Thomas should be, where the purser's station is, where he should be safe. But the water is too fast. The ship is tilting further. You are chest deep now. The lights from the gun ports are cutting off one by one as the sea swallows them. Darkness is coming. The darkness that will kill you all. You think about your mother, about your father's cross around your neck, about Thomas's mother who trusted you, who believed you would protect him. You have failed. You are failing. The water is at your neck, your chin. You take a breath, your last breath. The air tastes of salt and smoke and fear. The water closes over your head, and you are in the darkness that began this story. But you do not stay in the darkness. Somehow, you will never know how, you find the surface. You do not remember swimming, do not remember finding your way out. The memories are gone, just fragments. Darkness, burning lungs. Then air, sky gasping, vomiting seawater. Hands pulling you into a boat. You lie in the bottom of the rescue boat, coughing, choking, alive. Men row you towards shore. You can see the Mary Rose behind you. She is on her side, sinking. The masts horizontal in the water. Men in the rigging, screaming for help, drowning as you watch. As you are saved and they are not. You do not see Thomas, you look for him. Search the water, the other rescue boats. The shore as you approach. He is not there. He did not make it out. He is still aboard the Mary Rose, in the darkness, with the others. With Peter and John and Edmund and all the men who became familiar, who became constants, who are gone. The boat reaches shore. Someone helps you stand. Your legs do not work properly. You collapse on the beach, sand in your mouth, in your eyes. You are shaking, cannot stop shaking. Someone wraps a blanket around you, asks your name. You cannot speak, cannot form words, just shake. You watch the Mary Rose sink. It takes minutes. She goes down slowly, reluctantly. The masts disappear last. Then nothing, just water. Calm water, as if nothing happened. As if 400 men are not dead. As if the king's favourite ship is not on the bottom of the Solent. The king is on shore, you can see the pavilion. He is standing, watching. His ship is gone. His men are dead. And you are here, on the beach, wrapped in a blanket, alive when you should be dead, saved when Thomas was not. The guilt starts immediately, before you even fully understand what happened, before you know how many died, before you know that only 35 men survived. The guilt is there in your chest, heavy, permanent. Why you? Why not Thomas? Why not the good men, the skilled men, the men with families? You have no answer. There is no answer. The days after the sinking are a blur. You are questioned, your name recorded, your survival noted. You are given clothes, food, a place to sleep. The Navy does not know what to do with survivors. There are so few of you, 35 men from a crew of 400. The scale of the loss is incomprehensible. You visit Thomas's mother. You promise to watch out for him. You promise to keep him safe. You failed. You need to tell her, need to explain, need to apologize. She opens the door, sees you. Her face goes pale. She knows. She knows before you speak. Knows that you are here and Thomas is not. That you survived and he did not. You tell her what happened. As much as you remember, which is not much. The ship heeled over. Water came in. Thomas was below decks. You tried to reach him. Could not. The ship sank so fast. There was no time. No chance. He did not suffer. You hope he did not suffer. She does not cry. Not at first. She just stands there, looking at you. You can see her processing. See her trying to understand how you are alive and her son is dead. How the boy she asked you to protect is gone. How her trust was misplaced. You wait for her to scream at you. To blame you. She should blame you. You blame yourself. But she does not. She just cries. Silent tears. She says she knew. Says she felt it when he died. Says God took him for some purpose beyond her understanding. You do not believe in God after that moment. If God existed, he would not let Thomas drown in darkness. Would not let 400 men die for nothing. You leave. You do not know what else to do. What else to say. The apology is inadequate. The explanation is insufficient. Nothing will bring Thomas back. Nothing will ease her pain. You failed? That is the only truth that matters. You stop going to church, stop praying. The wooden cross your father gave you, the one you clutched in the water, you keep it, but not for faith, for memory, for the reminder that you survived when you should not have, that you carry debts you can never repay. The nightmares start within days. You see the darkness, feel the water rising, hear the screaming, smell the smoke and salt. You wake choking, gasping for air that is already there. Your room is not flooded, you are not drowning, but your body remembers, your mind remembers. Sleep becomes dangerous, becomes the enemy. You try to work to return to normal life. Your mother needs the money, your siblings need support. But you cannot hold a job, cannot concentrate, cannot be around people without feeling the panic, the terror that the floor will tilt, that water will pour in, that you will drown this time, that death was delayed but not avoided. The Navy offers you a position. Another ship. They need experienced crew. You have served. You know the work. They will pay. You refuse. You will never set foot on a ship again. Never go to sea. Never risk the water. The Mary Rose took Thomas. She let you go. But you will not give her another chance. Will not give the sea another chance. You are done. You find work on the docks, loading ships, unloading cargo, work that keeps you on land. On solid ground, you can see the ships, can smell the tar and salt. But you are not aboard them. That is enough. That is all you can manage. The years pass slowly. The nightmares do not stop. The guilt does not fade. You exist more than you live. You function. You work. You support your family. But the joy is gone. The hope is gone. Replaced by grey existence, by going through motions, by surviving because dying would hurt your mother, because you owe your family that much at least. You marry, not for love, for practicality. A widow who needs help with her children. You need a household, need purpose beyond work. The arrangement is pragmatic. She knows about the Mary Rose, about Thomas, about the nightmares. She does not ask for more than you can give. That is enough. You have children, 2 boys. You teach them to read, to work, to be honest. But you do not teach them about the sea. Do not tell them stories of adventure. When they ask about the ships in the harbour, you change the subject. When they suggest joining the Navy, you forbid it. Absolutely. They will not die like Thomas died. They will not drown in darkness. You will not allow it. They do not understand. They think you are cruel, unreasonable. They are young. They do not know. Cannot know. You do not explain. Cannot explain. The words do not exist. The horror cannot be conveyed. So you just forbid it. Just keep them safe. That is all you can do. You grow old, your hair greys, your back bends from years of dock work, your hands become gnarled, arthritic. The body that survived the Mary Rose wears down slowly, normally, through use and time rather than drowning. You think about Thomas often, about who he would have become. He would be 50 now if he had lived, might have children, grandchildren, might have become a baker like his father, might have been happy, might have lived the full life that was stolen from him at 21. You visit the harbour sometimes, stand at the rail, look at the water. The Solent looks calm, peaceful, beautiful even. You know what lies beneath. Know that 35 feet down, the Mary Rose rests on the bottom. Know that Thomas is there, that his bones are there, that 400 men who should have lived are there. The water keeps its secrets, looks innocent, looks safe. But you know better, know what the sea does, how it takes and gives nothing back except grief and nightmares, and guilt that never fades. You are 53 years old when you die, not old by any measure, but older than Thomas got, older than 400 men got. You die in your sleep, peacefully. Your heart simply stops. No pain, no suffering, just sleep that becomes permanent. Your wife finds you in the morning. Your body is still, your face is calm. The nightmares are over, the guilt is finally gone. Whatever debt you owed has been paid through 30 years of suffering, through 3 decades of remembering, through a lifetime of carrying Thomas and Peter and John and all the others who did not make it out. The wooden cross is buried with you, the one your father wore, the one your mother gave you, the one you clutched in the darkness when the Mary Rose sank. It is around your neck in the coffin, against your chest where it spent 30 years. A reminder, a memorial, a connection to that terrible day when 400 men drowned and you did not. You are buried in Portsmouth, in the churchyard near the harbour, near the water that killed Thomas, near the sea that haunts your nightmares. Your gravestone is simple, your name, your dates. Nothing about the Mary Rose, nothing about being a survivor, just a man who lived and died. Ordinary, forgotten. But you are not forgotten. Not completely. Your children remember. Your grandchildren will hear stories about the grandfather who survived the Mary Rose, who watched the king's ship sink, who carried the weight of that day for the rest of his life. The stories will be passed down, modified, simplified, eventually losing detail, losing truth, becoming legend. And somewhere beneath the water, the Mary Rose rests. She holds Thomas still, holds Peter and John and Edmund, and 397 others. She keeps them in the darkness, in the silt, in the cold water of the Solent. She is their grave, their monument, their final resting place. The sea moves above them. Tides rise and fall. Ships sail past. Time passes. Years become decades, become centuries. The Mary Rose is forgotten, becomes legend, becomes a ghost story told in taverns. The king's ship that sank. The disaster everyone heard about but nobody witnessed except the survivors. And the survivors are all dead now. You, the 34 others, all gone. The Mary Rose sleeps, buried in silt, protected by darkness, holding 400 men who will never grow old, who will never see their families again, who will never finish their lives, who died on a calm summer afternoon for reasons that still make no sense. Why did she sink? The question haunts naval architects for centuries. Too much weight on one side, guns too low, stability compromised by modification. Poor seamanship, bad luck. The theories multiply. The truth remains uncertain. All that is known for certain is that she went over, that water poured in, that men drowned, that the king watched, that England lost its favourite warship within sight of shore. And you survived. You lived. You carried the memory. You were the bridge between that day and the future, the witness. The one who remembered when everyone else wanted to forget. The one who could not forget, because Thomas's face followed you. Because the promise you made to his mother echoed. Because guilt does not care about explanations, does not accept excuses, does not fade with time. You did your best. You tried to reach him, tried to save him. The ship sank too fast. There was no time, no chance. These are facts. But they do not ease the guilt, do not answer the question. Why you? Why not Thomas? There is no answer. There never was. There never will be. Some questions exist only to be carried, only to be endured, only to remind you that survival is not victory, that living when others die is not triumph, that being spared is not the same as being saved. You are William Fletcher. You are from Portsmouth. You survived the Mary Rose on July 19th, 1545. You lived 30 years more. You raised children. You worked. You existed. And when you died, you took the nightmares with you, took the guilt, took the memories of Thomas and the others, took the burden of being the one who lived. The wooden cross around your neck rests against your chest in the grave, dark now, buried in earth as you are buried, connected to the darkness that swallowed Thomas, to the water that should have taken you, to the Mary Rose that sleeps beneath the Solent, holding 400 men who were not as fortunate as you. Or perhaps they were more fortunate. They did not have to live with what happened, did not have to carry 30 years of nightmares, did not have to explain to mothers why their sons are dead, did not have to wait choking, gasping, drowning in memory. They died. You lived. And which was the harder fate? You will never know, can never know, can only accept that you survived, that the price was guilt and nightmares and 3 decades of grey existence, that you paid it, that you endured it, that you carried Thomas's memory until your own death finally released you. Rest now. The story is told. The debt is paid. The burden is lifted. Thomas is remembered. The Mary Rose is remembered. You are remembered. The sea still flows above the wreck. The tides still rise and fall. Ships still sail the Solent. But beneath the water, in the Immersive darkness, the Mary Rose rests, and you rest beside the water that killed Thomas, and the wooden cross rests against your chest. And the story continues, as stories do, passed down, modified, becoming legend. But for you, William Fletcher, the story is over. 30 years after the sinking. Finally over. Finally done. Finally at peace. The guilt is gone. The nightmares are ended. The debt is paid. You survived the Mary Rose. You carried the memory. You honoured Thomas through your suffering, through your remembering, through your refusal to forget. That is enough. It has to be enough. Rest well, William Fletcher. You have earned it. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the past, for walking the decks of the Mary Rose with William Fletcher, for experiencing the sinking through his eyes, for understanding what was lost that day in 1545, for sitting with the guilt and nightmares that followed him for 30 years. The Mary Rose was more than wood and iron. She was 400 lives, 400 futures, 400 families destroyed. She was Thomas Cooper, who should have been a baker, Peter, who should have retired after 20 years, John, who should have taught more young gunners, Edmund, who should have told more stories. She was also William Fletcher, who survived, who carried the weight, who never forgave himself, who lived with nightmares until death finally brought peace. If you found value in this story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm curious where in the world you're listening from tonight, so please leave a comment below. May the men of the Mary Rose rest in peace. May their sacrifice be remembered. May their story continue to be told. I wish you a calm and peaceful night.